Hey guys, welcome to this tutorial. My name is Attempster. Today I'm going to be going over part 13 in the Project FPS tutorial series. Now in the last part we set up muzzle flare and smoke, as you can see here, for both the secondary and the primary weapon. So that is looking pretty cool. So if you haven't already, go ahead and check out part 12 so you can get up to date with all of that sort of stuff. But apart from that, we'll be getting straight on into this tutorial. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually make sure you've saved this and then go to File and New, and we're going to make a new blend file. Then up the top here, Cycles Render, and we're going to go over to GPU if you have that option, otherwise CPU should be fine. I'm going to turn up this render size and change the resolution to 256 by 256. Alright, compression to full, and sampling maybe turn up to 50. Then Shift A and we'll add a cylinder. Then SZ to scale on the Z axis, and I'm going to press Tab to go into edit mode, face select, delete the top face. Then I'm going to go back into vertice, and holding down the Alt key I'm going to select this whole ring. If you accidentally select that, just hold down Alt again and click another vertice until you have it selected. Then E to extrude, S and scale it in, maybe around about there. ES again, I'm going to move it down this time. Then ES one more time, and bring this up the top here, and then F for a closing face. Alright, and if you want to, you can also add in bit more detail, maybe a couple more dips into your bullet if you'd like to, but I'm just going to leave it at that. So then I'm going to go over here to smooth, apply that, and then we're going to go over to the node editor. So go ahead and make a new window, change it to node editor here, and then we're going to click new material with the cylinder selected, and actually we can just call this Cartridge. That's not spelt right, Cartridge, yeah, something like that. Okay, and then in here we're going to press Shift A and add in a mix shader. With that selected, we're going to go ahead also add in another shader. This one's going to be a glossy, and we're going to join that in together like so. Roughness, yeah, 0.2 should be fine. I'm going to give this a maybe bronzish color, and then the diffuse here can be quite yellow. So again, a almost golden color. Alright, so maybe we'll do the same over here as well. Okay, and I think that should be about it. So this lamp here, now what we're going to do is use nodes. We might do an area instead, and 0.5. That's a little, yeah, no, 0.5 should be fine. Alright, so you can sort of see what it's doing. GX, GY, turn up the emission to maybe 500, maybe even 1000. And we're going to also be giving it a maybe just a slight tint of orange or something. Then I'm going to go numpad 0, Shift Z to go into render view, and that's what it will look like. So I'm going to select it, and then I'll be able to change its value here, so you can sort of affect what it's going to look like. I think something closer to the glossy shader is going to look a bit better. So maybe something like that. Then I'm going to select it. Obviously you can't see me selecting it in render view, so select this, and then we're going to choose our first random shot. So the bottom here hasn't actually been deleted yet, so I'm going to press tab to go into edit mode, select the face, select this face, X, and delete faces. Then I'm going to press tab to go out of edit mode, numpad 0 to go back into the camera, and I'm going to press S and scale it up, and just so we can get like maximum coverage within our camera's view. I'm going to go ahead and click render, and you can sort of see what that does. The cool thing about the area lamp here is it looks like from the inside of here it's glowing, and that could sort of be used as an effect, as in the bullet's just been fired and the metal inside is still hot. Either way, I'm going to give this a bit more of an orange or darker color. The diffuse is probably which we need to make darker, so diffuse here, turn down a bit, and then F12, start again, and maybe we'll turn down the shader a bit. Select the lamp, go into render view, and rotate it around to get better results, if you think that looks better. I think somehow that is good. Then also what we want to do is Shift Z to go out of render view. We want to go down here and under the film, there we go, transparent is what we want. So Shift Z again, and you can see the background is gone, which is great. I'm going to select this, so select the bullet, and I'm just going to rotate it in this direction. S to scale, so we can use up most of the frame. Something like that. Alright, so these pixels here are very valuable, considering the image is so small, so the more space you use up, the better, and the better quality your image will be, at least for the small ones. So try and use up as much space as possible, then when you're done, F12, and there we go, there's our first bullet cartridge. So I'm going to go save as image, and then turn off save as render, go to my desktop, project FPS, and in here, do we need to make an extra folder? Yeah, it's probably not a bad idea. So let's just call these cartridges. Cartridges. I have a feeling that's still spelled wrong. Anyway, click in there, select it. This first one will be called Cartridge 1. And then save as image. Then we're going to do another view of this one. So as you will notice, this image here, we can rotate it just by itself like this. So we should be able to do that at least within Blender. You can also flip the image with the UVs. So now with this next image here, instead of just rotating it and doing something like this, you want to get a completely different angle if possible. So for example, maybe RY. Scale it in a bit, and then, yeah, just bring it around. Maybe something like that. Alright, scale it up. And then I'm going to press F12 again. And maybe that doesn't look so great, so I'm going to change the lighting a bit. Okay, so somehow that should be fine. So number 0, render it out completely, image, save as image, and cartridge 2. Turn off save as render, and there we go. Make sure you put in cartridge 2, otherwise it will overwrite the previous one. Right, so for the next two, we want to show the other side, so the nice dented side that we made. So actually, maybe we'll do a view over here actually, considering we did the last one with one there and one there. So put that one over here, S to scale, move it in, S again. Alright, so something like that. Then I'm going to press the render button, render it out. We might need to modify our lighting again, something on the border like that. So I'm going to press render, and I'm happy with that. So image, save as image, cartridge 3 this time, turn off save as render, and save the image. Now you can do as many of these as you like. You can also do as little of these as you like, completely up to you. However many you think is necessary to provide enough variation. I'm going to just do one more, so we have 4 different ones. So I'm going to press render one more time, and I'm happy with that. So I'm going to go save as image, cartridge 4 this time, turn off save as render, and then save that image. Alright, so we have all our 4 different cartridges. Now we're going to go back and we're going to open up our, well, part 13 of Project FPS, so where we were up to before. So what we're going to do is go over to layer 2 and actually layer 3 where all our muzzle flares are. Then I'm going to press Shift D and I'm going to add myself a plane. I'm going to move this over and I'm going to call this Cartridge 1. And then I'm going to go to the Materials tab, New Material, turn off Specular. Then we're going to scroll down further, and instead of Opaque for Alpha Blend, we want Alpha Clip. Then Transparency, nothing. Go to the Texture tab, New Texture, Image or Movie, UV, Alpha here, and open up an image. We're going to go to the Cartridges, open up the first one here. Then go into Edit Mode in this window, so Tab, then U and Unwrap. Then that should be fine. What we're also going to do is go over to the tab here and we're going to add an emission of 0.5. The reason we're only adding 0.5 is because in a dark place when you're shooting you don't want these to be completely visible, but you also don't want them to be completely black either. So actually maybe 0.5 is a bit much, maybe 0.25. So we're just giving them a little bit of emission so you can see what they are. So that is number 1 done. I'm going to go over to the physics here, and what I want to do is choose dynamic and ghost. So turn off actor, choose dynamic, also choose collision bounds as box. Then what I'm going to do is press Shift D to duplicate, move it over here, and then this is going to be cartridge 2. Again, physics settings are fine, we just need a new material, so click the number 2 here as well, and then open up a new one. So cartridges, cartridge 2, then select that one, Shift D to duplicate, move it across, do the same thing, so over here, over there, and then we'll open up number 3, so this one here, and then last but not least, back to the materials, number 2, textures, number 2, and then we're going to go ahead and open up our last one, so this one over here. I'm going to select all of them and scale them down slightly, maybe something like that. Then we also want our bullet cartridges to be facing the player, so I'm going to select this one, and just RX90 to rotate it towards the player, like so. Alright, so that should be fine. Then we're going to go over to layer 1, and we're going to go ahead and actually layer 2 here. We're going to go ahead and add another spawner. So numpad 7 to go into top view. First going to do it for the secondary, just because we equip that first. So Shift D to duplicate, and move that over here. And then what we want to do is zoom in, and then we want to move it down, so somewhere roughly in there. This is where the bullet will start to be spawned, so half of the image will be inside the gun, half will be outside, so maybe you just want to keep that in mind. Also for the height, but I guess we can adjust that later. So anyway, over here I'm going to go and call this Glock Cartridge. Now instead of using a script here, I'm actually going to turn that off, and here I'm going to add myself a property. This is just going to be called random, and it will be a random number that's generated. So I'm going to call this something random, delete it, and then what I'm going to do is go over here, and I'm going to choose random, so minimize these two, add an AND controller, join it to the top one. Just for now, I'm going to get rid of these so they're not confusing. Alright, so just the top one, when message Glock shoot is true, we're going to join this up to the random. This is going to be an integer uniform, and property random, minimum of 1, maximum of 4, because we have 4 different ones. Choose a random seed, and then we're going to move that up here. Alright, so then we're going to go and start doing the great fun thing of adding logic bricks properties. So we're going to need 4 different ones. When random is equal to 1, obviously. When random is equal to 2. If you want to, you can name them as well. It's probably good if you want to keep it organized. And random is equal to 4. Then over here, we're going to be adding in 4 edit objects for each one. So I can actually get rid of both of those. And 1, 2, 3, and 4. Alright, and then we can minimize all those, then also minimize those. Now we can go over here, choose cartridge 1, I'm going to give it a time of 1.5 seconds, so 90, and then minimize that. Cartridge 2 for this one, 90, and I don't think we actually named cartridge 3, so cartridge 2, no we didn't, cartridge 3, and cartridge 4. So back to layer 2, and we're going to select this one over here, cartridge 90, is that cartridge 2? Yep, 90, and cartridge 3, 90 again, and cartridge 4, hopefully, there we go, 90. Now what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to add local for linear velocity, and we want it to shoot out in that direction. So making sure it's in local so you can see what way it is actually facing. It's going to be on Y. So let's say 10 on Y, we need some up velocity as well, so let's say maybe 4. And then we want some linear as well, but we want this to be local as well and always on the x-axis, so we'll give it a random linear velocity. So you can see we're getting random ones spawned in, and our other one flies out the side, so that's looking fine. They're obviously all way too big, so I will select all of them again and shrink them down. In the original demo, I think they were really small, maybe something like that, so hopefully that's big enough. Obviously the ones for the pistol are going to have to be even smaller than the ones for here. So either way, there we go, that's a bit better. I might apply the scale, see if that makes a difference. Okay, we're actually going to be adding in, maybe that moves a bit fast, this linear velocity, maybe going to turn down to 3, this one maybe down to, I don't know, 1.76, and over here I'm going to be adding some linear velocity for these as well. And now if we press P, yeah, they seem to be spinning on the wrong axis, so we're going to try that again with Z. So turn off all the angular velocity, and we'll just try and give Z a try. So if it's not Z, then it will obviously be Y, but this is the only real way to find out. So I think that's the right one, which is great. So yep, we can add ourselves a lot of spinning on that. Also some over here. The more you add, obviously the faster they'll spin. You could have them spinning, you don't need them spinning fast, but it looks a little nicer. Alright, so I am happy with that. Again, way too big, still, believe it or not. So these are going to become almost invisible, so I'm going to move them over here, just so we know roughly where they are. Okay, layer 2, and P. Okay, and that's looking a bit better. Might actually make them a just really small amount larger. Just see what that does, because yeah, as the top of the pistol moved back, they were a little bit small, but I think somehow that is looking a little bit better. I might maybe just slightly turn down the velocity of that really fast cartridge, so back to layer 2, and we'll select the empty here, and it was the one that was really far on Y, so that one's 3, that one's 4, that one's 6, and this one's 1, so I have a feeling it's that one. I'm going to turn it down. Let's just say we don't want to go past 5, just so we can actually see the bullet for most of the time. But apart from that, yeah, that's looking good. So I'm going to go ahead and add myself some smoke to that. So to do that, I'm going to go add an edit object, and I'm just going to choose 2 random ones up here, and just add smoke when these 2 shoot. So you can add it for all of them, but then it might build up and not look so great. But again, up to you. So over here, we're going to go and choose Glock Flare, Glock Smoke, and then again, we'll turn that down to, was it 20? 20 or 10? I'm not sure. Let's have a look. I was only 10. So over here, let's change that to 10. Maybe we'll connect one more edit object. Only problem is this smoke sort of coming up the top, so that could be an issue if you don't really like that. So you can pull out this spawner here, just a little bit to affect that, so the smoke will spawn more out the side. So either way, I am happy with that. You can see that the smoke is like almost inside the gun. You can move the spawner out, or you could add another piece of smoke with a different animation that sort of goes outwards. But either way, it happens so fast, it's barely noticeable, and I'm happy with the effect of it. Now what we can do is, I guess we can test it to make sure it works. So equip number 2, and there we go, we have our bullets coming out the side of our weapon, and our recoil going as well, which looks great. So you notice some of them have a really large amount of velocity. So again, you see them just shooting off the side of the screen. They don't have a nice falling effect, so I'm going to guess that's Y or X. So I'm going to turn down both of those. Y especially. 3.3, that's probably one of them. And yep, last one here. Alright, so try that one again. Alright, and somehow that is looking a little bit better. If you really wanted to, you could also, I guess we probably should go ahead and make these smaller again. So somehow that. But apart from that, yeah, I think that should be good, at least for this weapon. So let's go ahead and quickly add it to our second one. Now we've sort of got the main process sorted. So this one here, Shift D to duplicate. Move it roughly over there. Turns out this is over here. So I'm going to move it somewhere around there. Alright, move it out a little bit. And then I'm going to get rid of that. Get rid of these two. Get rid of these two. So we only really want this message here. I'm going to go ahead and change this to Cartridge. Spawn. Should probably do that for the second one here as well, or just Glock Cartridge. I guess that's fine. Over here, random, this one here, and then this will be a integer uniform. We need a property, which we'll just call random, and we'll make it an integer. Random seed, starts at 1, ends at 4. Yeah, move these all down, add 4 properties, so random is equal to 1, random is equal to 2, random is equal to 3, and random is equal to 4. Minimize all of those ones. And then over here, add ourselves some edit objects. Again, I'm going to make it 90. You don't want these lasting too long, just especially with the automatic weapon here, because there'll be so many of them spawned in, and it may lag out your game if you say have 100 in at one time. So could do 80, I guess turn it down to 60 even if you wanted to. I'm just going to leave it at 90, and we can turn it down later if we need to. So last one here. Now what I'm actually going to do is, because these cartridges will actually need to be larger, I'm going to go over here to my layer. I'm going to select all of these. I think at the moment they're just called normal cartridges. So what I'm quickly going to do is call these Glock Cartridge. That one. Glock Cartridge for that one. And Glock in front of the other ones, just so we don't get confused. Now also, before I continue, one more thing that we didn't really pay attention to was the scaling of these. So you can actually, we can scale some of these up and make them larger. This will add even more variation and make it look a little bit cooler. Again, you don't want to make them too large because that might be a bit of a problem. So now I'm going to select all of those, press Shift D to duplicate, and GX, move it over here. Now we'll have to quickly rename all of them to M24 Cartridge. And then the second one here, M24 Cartridge 2. Cartridge 3, 4. Alright, so all of those were done. Then back to layer 1. Actually, on this layer, we'll scale them up first of all. Then we'll go back to layer 2, just to save us some time. Go over here, and we also need to add in our smoke. So I'm going to connect these up to a few random ones. And then type in M24, and we want M24 smoke. Again, time of 10, just like before. And then in here, we're going to select M24 Cartridge. And then the second one, M24 Cartridge 2. Cartridge 2. This one over here, M24. Cartridge 3. And M24 Cartridge 4. So now we just need to add ourselves some velocity. So think Y local for both of these, and we'll just double check over here. Yep, x-axis was the rotation. So, and we'll give it some Z as well, 1.5 or something. Give it some negative rotation and move this out That might be a bit much, so we'll try to keep it, again, below 4 or 5. Alright, again, these ones, and something like that. A little bit higher. Move it down, alright. Those two. And there we go, so something like that. Alright, so now if we press P, and we shoot this weapon, you can see we have all our bullet cartridges coming out. There we go, so that's looking a little bit better, and the good thing about the bullet cartridges is it will be almost giving you some feedback on when you're shooting as well. Again, you'll notice that the smoke is going through the gun, which obviously isn't looking too great. But apart from that, I'm just going to quickly join these ones together, and then go back to this layer. But apart from that, I think that is done. So we have some smoke for the cartridges, and well, the cartridges as well coming out, and we've added that for both the main weapon here and also for the secondary weapon here. So there we go, guys, that'll be it for this tutorial. If you enjoyed it, be sure to leave a like, comment, or share. All of that stuff is greatly appreciated. If you had any problems with this, there'll be a download link in the description to the finished version of this with the cartridges in it. But apart from that, hope you enjoyed the tutorial, have an awesome week, and I'll see you guys in the next video.